All right, so this success that the under 20 has managed to achieve of going to the World Cup for the first time has attracted attention from far and wide, and anybody that is connected to Zambia or has had a connection to Zambia. So we're in conversation with former Polo Polo assistant coach Irfan Kawri. Let's hear what he had to say about our latest success of going to the World Cup for the third time in our history.
Hello, good evening. First of all, I'd like to say it's an absolutely fantastic achievement for Zambia to be qualifying for the Under 20 World Cup. If you just look at the tournament, now we're into what, 3 games gone of the AFCON Under 20 tournament, and won 3 games, scored 10, only conceded 2, which is an amazing record, really. That's maximum points. So couldn't ask for any better than that. Booked our ticket into the FIFA Under 20 World Cup, which is an amazing achievement. So credit to the lads, credit to all the players, the staff, the coaches, in particular Coach Beston, Chambeshi, the manager, done a really, really good job. But if you actually look at the Under 20 squad, the actual work that's gone into that, started some time ago. I remember when I was there with the national team last year, under Kalu, and I had conversations with Lee at the executive committee, and also coach Chris Gowunda, who was the coach at the time, who was putting in a lot of groundwork in terms of assembling the squad, players, talent identification. So a lot of work's gone into that, so they must take credit as well. It's been a absolutely fantastic achievement, and it really means that Zambian football is on its way up. Great for the country, great for the reputation of the football. And if you look at the teams that are in there, teams like Senegal, Cameroon, African heavyweights as well, were in this tournament. So fantastic. Really, really good for Zambian football all around. The question which I got asked was, many of these young players now are vying for careers in Europe, and what would my advice be to them? I think in terms of trying to get into Europe, if a player has this opportunity or gets given this opportunity, I think it's very, very good for that player to, pursue a career in Europe and take on the opportunity. But I think it's important that, I know there's a lot of agents knocking about, I want to sign players up and try and get them into Europe. But it's important that players not only get the agent's advice, they also get coaches' advice and the people around them, because it's important that players are going for the right reasons. And the main thing is that they're developing as players, because they don't want to be jumping from their domestic league into Europe and then going there sitting on the bench, and it's no good for the development. It brings them backwards. They take 3-4 steps back. So it's got to be at the right time. The right football advice has to be given. They shouldn't just be chasing the money as well. Everybody wants to make a good living and secure the family's futures, etc. I can understand that, but it's important that a football decision. It's a football decision as well. Coaches advise people around them that they're at the right time for them to go into Europe. That's what my advice would be. Because sometimes nowadays you get players who won't even played that many games for the league clubs, but suddenly they're in Europe, and they get into Europe, they find it difficult, and then they're not playing, so it's not really good for their development. So I think that's really important. So that's what my advice would be. But they've got to dream big, try and get into the best leagues and play in the best leagues, try and aim the best they can be. And certainly there's nothing to stop that. If you just look at what the boys have just achieved, the proofs in the pudding there. Amazing tournament we've had up to now, and let's hope we can go and win it. There's no reason why not. The other question was, in terms of player development, how can we sustain this level of success? So, for me now, this actual under 20 squad, I mean, they should now be targeting the AFCON 2021, 2023. The players in this squad now, the current crop, should be targeting them tournaments and try and secure a place in the squad for them tournaments. And also with this current pool now, we should be looking at the 2022 and the 2026 World Cup. Now, for us to sustain this level of success and have this player development, there needs to be a long-term plan, a vision, and infrastructure in place where players are going to come in when they come to the national team and have the right environment. The environment's imperative that it's right for the players to develop. So again, the coaching has to be right. What they're coming into has to be for their development and for them to be better. So with a long-term plan, vision, infrastructure, and I think the coaching, it's imperative that these players get the right coaching, because the talent's there. It's definitely there. I mean, when I was there, you just got to look at the players I was working with. Yeah, for example, Renford Caliber. He was in the squad when I was working with him, and he's just been named last year, back in the last year, in the CAF team of the year. And if you look at the players that were in that team, there's Riyad Mahrez, Eric Bailey, and Sadio Mane that playing in the English Premier League. So that just goes to show the quality of players we have. And then you've got people like Kennedy Mooney, who just won the CAF Champions League with Sundowns. You've got Christopher Katongo, BBC African Footballer of the Year. You've got Isaac Chanza, 2012 AFCON winner. You've got Chisamba Lungu playing in Russia, again AFCON winner. So, and if you look at the opposition of players these players played against when they won the AFCON, the English Premier League players like Drogba, the Toure brothers, Tiote, Gervinho, all these players were playing in that final when Zambia beat them. So the talent's definitely there. I think it needs to be nurtured, and it has to be the right environment for them to develop, and the coaching has to be right. It's imperative the coaching is right, so the players can then develop. And going back to my experiences again about being able to sustain this level of success and having this player development. There's two players now in this current under-20 squad that are playing in the AFCON. Patson Daka and Conlai Duchanga. I worked with both of them in the Chan squad when I was there last December 2015, January 2016. And I remember just going back when I speak about the coaching. I remember doing a session. We were in Johannesburg. We had a training camp there in South Africa, and I put on a phase of play practice. We were working on our forward play in the final third, and Patson, who's a very, very raw player, I would say. He's very raw. He's got a lot of pace, power, good strength, and I think with the right coaching, Patson could really, really develop into a top player. I remember there were times in that phase of play practice, and he got the ball in wide areas, and when he got the ball in wide areas, there was so much space in front of him, to go and exploit that space and to go and attack the space, as a wide player, which where he was at the time when we put that phase on. And then even when we moved him into central as a striking role, there was spaces for him to go and exploit. But he was making the wrong decisions, and I remember stopping him, pulling him, and telling him that your decision here is to go and exploit the space. Give him that confidence, let him express himself, instead of always looking to come inside and to pass a ball central. Go and exploit the space, because these are the decisions that can be the difference between scoring a goal and going on to win a game. And I think it's for players to recognise that is one thing, but then having the expression in them and the freedom to go and do it. So I think, for us to maintain this level of success, the coaching environment has to be right. And I think if we have a right vision in place and infrastructure and plan, there's no reason why this current squad now, under-20 squad, can't go and be in the AFCON squads for 2021, 2023 and the World Cup. And we could try and make it into the World Cup for 2022 and 2026. And I think it's great for the lads when they go to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. They'll be testing themselves against the best players in the world at that age group. So I think Zambian football, on the back of these, last three results in the AFCON Under-20 and booking our place in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, really, really puts us in a good position. So I want to wish the team all the best for the remainder of the tournament, the semi-finals, and hopefully we can win this. Okay, thank you.